My girlfriend lied about my size to her friends, so I proved her wrong, with both of them. My name is Ryan, and my life is code. I'm a software architect, a man who builds complex digital worlds from pure logic. My work requires patience, an obsessive attention to detail, and the ability to see how thousands of small pieces fit together to create a functional whole. For 3 years, I applied that same dedication to my relationship with Ashley, not realizing that while I was building a future, she was busy mining materials to demolish it. I was the engine of our life. I worked 60-hour weeks so we could live in a luxurious downtown apartment, so she could drive a car I paid for, and so she could fill her days with lunches, yoga classes, and shopping. She didn't work. Her full-time occupation was being Ashley, an aspiring influencer whose only talent was spending my money and keeping her core to followers. Madison and Taylor. Entertained. The problem wasn't the money, it was the contempt. To her, I wasn't her partner, I was her provider. She treated me like a glorified servant. They were commands disguised as requests. Ryan, the dog needs to go out and I'm busy. Ryan, my glass is empty. Ryan, the dinner you cooked is a little bland tonight. In front of her friends, the humiliation became a sport. She referred to me as her resident nerd or her little programmer monkey. My work, which was a source of pride for me, was a joke to her. He spends all day typing weird little things on a black screen. I endured these small cruelties, these daily fractures in my dignity, because I loved her, or rather, I loved the idea of her that I had built myself. But her contempt didn't stop there. It infiltrated the most intimate part of our relationship. It started as a rumor that reached me through a mutual friend, who had heard her joking with her friends. The joke was always the same, that despite all my professional successes in the bedroom, I couldn't measure up, that my hardware, as she called it, was deficient. The final confirmation of this systematic betrayal was brutal. I came home one day to find her in the living room with Madison and Taylor, looking at photos on her phone. I approached to say hello and saw what they were looking at, a photo of me sleeping that she had taken without my permission. And as she showed it, she made the gesture, the raised pinky finger. As I was saying, she said with a giggle, a genius in the office, but in bed. Let's just say his processor is low performance. Madison and Taylor laughed, though I could see a hint of discomfort in their eyes. It didn't matter. The damage was done. The woman I had given everything to was taking my vulnerability and turning it into a circus act to keep her friends entertained. That night, the entire structure of our relationship collapsed inside me when her friends left. There was no yelling. My anger was too cold for that. I went to my office and started transferring funds, canceling credit cards, and changing passwords. When I was done, I returned to the living room. Ashley was on the couch, scrolling through her phone. "What do you think you're doing?" I asked, my voice calm but loaded with a finality she had never heard before. She looked up, annoyed. "What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about your show this afternoon." "About all of your shows. It's over, Ashley. You have 24 hours to get your things out of my apartment." Her face transformed into a mask of disbelief and fury. She tried her usual tactic, calling me sensitive, dramatic, but this time her words found no cracks to seep through. I was a wall of stone. Seeing that I wouldn't budge, she moved on to threats and insults, but it was too late. I had disconnected her from my life, both emotionally and financially. First objective was simple: show the world, and especially her friends, who Ashley really was without my support. The financial cutoff was the first step. Within 2 weeks, she was desperate. She had to return her car and move into a small one-bedroom apartment she could barely afford. Her luxurious lifestyle evaporated next. I attacked her image. Ashley, had lied on her influencer profile, claiming to have worked on marketing campaigns for several companies. They were lies I knew were lies. Using an anonymous account, I sent emails to Madison and Taylor with screenshots proving Ashley had never worked at those places, attaching links to the real employee profiles of those companies. The message was simple: just so you know who you're dealing with. The final blow of this phase was more personal. I had a recording from the security camera at the entrance of our old building where Ashley could be seen screaming at and humiliating a food delivery driver for a 5-minute error in his order. It was her true face: cruel, arrogant, and despotic with people she considered inferior. I sent the clip to Madison and Taylor separately. No comments, just the truth on video. 3 months passed. 3 months in which Ashley's image as a successful and fun woman had crumbled. Her friends now saw her for what she was: a dependent, cruel liar. Their loyalty was broken. It was time to invite them into my world. I contacted them separately. My tone was kind and conciliatory. "Hey, Madison, I know things with Ashley ended weirdly and you've probably heard all sorts of stories. I'd like to clear the air. I'm hosting a small, casual get-together at my new place this Saturday. I'd love for you to come. No drama, just good conversation." I sent an almost identical message to Taylor. Curiosity, mixed with their newfound distrust of Ashley, was stronger. Both of them accepted. On the night of the gathering, my apartment was the antithesis of the life I shared with Ashley. It was sleek, tidy, a reflection of my own mind. There were other friends, good music, excellent food that I had prepared myself. I was the perfect host, confident, attentive, and completely at ease. I spoke with them, together, at one point in the evening. I apologized for the awkward situation they had been put in. "Ashley has her way of telling things," I said with a resigned smile. "Sometimes reality and her stories don't quite line up." That display of maturity disarmed them. As the other guests left, the three of us remained, talking on the large couch in my living room. The atmosphere shifted. The initial tension had dissolved and was replaced by undeniable chemistry. They were seeing me for the first time, not as Ashley's nerd boyfriend, but as a powerful man who had been betrayed and had put himself back together with impressive dignity. The attraction was palpable. There was no planned conversation. The seduction was silent, a natural escalation of looks and gestures. The curiosity they felt about Ashley's lie had transformed into a genuine desire for the man in front of them. That night, I invited them into my bedroom, and that night, their curiosity was satisfied in the most definitive way possible. Afterward, as we lay in the silence of the room, it was Madison who broke it. She turned to look at me, a disbelieving smile on her face. "Wow, Ryan," she whispered, her voice a mix of awe and amusement. "I had no idea you were hiding something like that." She looked at Taylor, who nodded with wide eyes. "Definitely," Taylor added. "Ashley isn't just a fool. She's the worst liar I've ever met." The validation wasn't just verbal. It was empirical. The next morning, they left, not as strangers, but as accomplices to the truth. Their loyalty to Ashley wasn't just broken, it was pulverized and replaced with a deep contempt. They told her everything. They told her they had been at my place. They told her what had happened. The humiliation for Ashley was total. She had not only lost her provider, but her own friends had abandoned her for him. After confirming that her greatest mockery was her biggest lie today, Ashley is alone. She works as a waitress in a mediocre restaurant. I saw her the other day by chance. The arrogance had been replaced by a dull weariness. Her social media is a desert. Her former friends no longer answer her calls, and me, I am happy. The night with Madison and Taylor wasn't the beginning of anything. It was the end. It was the final purge of Ashley's toxicity from my life. I am now dating a woman who respects me, who values my mind and my loyalty. I have rebuilt my life on a solid foundation of truth and self-respect. And sometimes, at night, I think of Ashley and the lesson she unintentionally taught me, that structures built on lies, no matter how shiny they look on the outside, are always just one blow from the truth away from collapsing completely.